All right, here we go. All right, we're good. Well, happy summer. Summertime is hit hard. It's like everybody's family vacations and whatnot. So this is our every other week. We do this twice a month, our wealth building classes, focusing on 4 key principles that we've talked about in the past. So today we're going to talk about wealth building principle number 3, which is institutional investments and the importance of them. We'll talk a little bit wide range. We can talk about how much money I've lost in the stock market through the years, but specifically we'll talk about the stock plans that we're now a part of. Well, before we even get into that, I think I've become very committed to this principle that is something that I think would be good for all of us to understand, which is, as real estate professionals, the necessity for us lies in wealth obsession. I didn't understand this when I was young. When I was 21 years old, I remember I made my first $100,000 my second year in real estate. And I had a client at the time said, he asked me, how much money did you make or whatever? And this was 2003. And I said, 116,000. He was like, well, good job. You'll never make less than $100,000 again in your life. And I thought that was a unique concept. I hoped it was true. And it's played out to be true. Recession, non-recession. Like I've never not made 6 figures after having made 6 figures. The problem, though, is if I obsess about how much money I make, meaning the commission checks I earn, I can get on this roller coaster that all real estate agents ride, which is a very dangerous thing to do, because if our definition of success is meeting our financial obligations, then we will never get off of the financial obligation meeting roller coaster. Because if I have, for example, a $5,000 monthly debt obligation, meaning I've got a $2,500 house payment, a $1,000 car payment, a couple of $500 auto insurance, life insurance payments, whatever it is. If my monthly debt costs me $5,000 a month and my monthly lifestyle costs me $2,000 a month in food and groceries, in going to the movies, and in the occasional trip to Newport Beach, then my monthly cost obligation is $7,000 a month. If my obsession is not falling short of $7,000 a month, then all of a sudden, my definition of success becomes what? $7,000 a month. So as long as I generate $7,000 a month, then I've won that month. Here's where it gets dangerous. Now, we could call that living commission check to commission check. That's fine. The whole world does it. Those scary statistics, I didn't even pull them up, but there's those deals that say that if you have enough money to pay your bills and $100 in your bank account and $400 to cover an emergency, you're in the top like 3% of wealth in the entire world. Like, it actually makes me sick to hear that statistic. Here's where this principle becomes dangerous. So let's say this is Jaden's monthly debt obligation and lifestyle obligation. $7K gets him to the next month. But here's the dangerous month. The dangerous month is when Jaden makes $21,000. So Jaden, why would that be such a dangerous month for you if your monthly cost obligation is $7K and you make $21K?
3 months worth of expenses, I can take the foot off the gas.
You take the foot off the gas. And so naturally, if I'm Aaron, if I'm Jaden, if this is my monthly cost obligation, then I go like, I'm good. All that hard work, all that climbing I did now allows me a couple months of freedom. I don't have to push as hard. I don't have to make my calls. I don't have to do my open houses. I don't have to fight as hard for my offers, because my wife can't freak out on me because I now have a 3-month runway. So I'm not worried. And so it's a super good feeling. I remember the first time I got a $20,000 commission check. It was like, after living commission check to commission check and month to month for so long, when I finally made that $20K, the natural man in me took my foot off the gas, and I probably took literally like 2 months off. My wife and I were a young married couple. We had just, I think, had Porter, and I discovered Dawson's Creek. And so like I watched Dawson's Creek like for 2 months straight. Every day my wife and I would watch Dawson's Creek together. I couldn't at that time estimate how unattractive it must have been for her to be married to this man and have this young child, and to be sitting there at 11 o'clock in the morning on a Wednesday watching Dawson's Creek with her husband. I can't imagine how gross that was. But I made $20K. My monthly cost obligation at the time was like $5 maybe. And so I had 4 months of runway. The problem is not in month 1 or even in month 2. The problem starts to scream around month 3. When we have a 4-month debt obligation met, once we get to month 3 and we haven't participated in any of the activities that got us that roadmap, and we get to month 3, the sirens start going off. And so I know what it looks like, because I'll see someone have a good month or a good 2 months, and then I won't see them for 3 or 4 months. And then they will be out in the bullpen with their laptop up, and they'll be on the phone. And I'll say like, bro, where have you been? And they're like, oh, I killed it. I closed a couple of deals. I had to take some time off. I don't judge them, but what that tells me about them is that they are very much a debt obligation minded real estate professional. If they can meet their debt obligations, they're willing to put in the work. But once those debt obligations are met, they're done. The person who doesn't know where his next dollar is coming from usually doesn't know where their last dollar went. That is the paycheck to paycheck minded person. That is the commission check to commission check minded real estate professional. So then my theory has become, what happens to us as real estate professionals if we realize that money does not buy us happiness, but the lack of money certainly buys us misery? If we understand that principle, then we become obsessed, not with becoming happy from the making of money. I've actually in my career learned to loathe closing day. Like I don't even like receiving commission checks, because I then instantly become concerned about where my next check comes from. When I have deals in escrow, it's like I never want to reach that finish line of 0 deals in escrow. But agents love closing day. They love getting their commission check. My obsession is not anymore on the obtaining of money on a monthly basis. My obsession has become the building of wealth. So the wealth-minded real estate professional has contracts that open escrow, deals that close are all propellants in their career. They are all, they add fuel to the fire. And so the wealth-minded real estate professional works harder the day after closing than they did the day before closing. They work harder as their bank account grows than they did, when it was smaller. I've noticed in myself, and I said this, I think last time, I have more personal wealth now than I've ever had in my entire life. And I find myself more motivated than I've ever been in my entire life. I've also found less satisfaction in the things that money can buy. Like I'm less satisfied by vacations. I'm less satisfied by automobiles. I'm less satisfied by clothes or rounds of golf or whatever it is. I'm less satisfied by those things because they no longer define for me success. Success to me is purely in the financial sense defined by the creation of wealth. And it's not how much money can I make next month. It's how much money would I make next month if I didn't work this month. If something happened in my life, if I'm telling you right now, if one of my kids or my wife came down with a terminal illness, you would not see me. I would stop everything and I would be there because time is much more valuable than anything else. So then the question is, am I building a life in which if a life crisis happens, I'm able to spend my most valuable asset in my most valuable commodity, which is my time? and it's my family. So I no longer worry about or receive endorphin release from the making of money. I very much am focused on the creation of wealth and the creation of residual income and some of those principles. So today we're going to talk about the real stock plan and what it enables us to do in the form of the creation of wealth. And so I want to run through some numbers with you guys. So the reality is Real offers 3 stock plans for agents. So number 1 is agent stock purchase, and number 2 is capping and attracting stock awards, and number 3 is elite agent stock awards. So the first thing is, I checked today, and in the last 30 days, I have purchased, and Jaden, I may need your math here, I have purchased in Real stock from my commission, I've purchased, let me pull it up. So we've been in the Real ecosystem for a month. In the last month, I purchased 1,612 shares or dollars worth of stock. Now, the way the Real stock purchase plan works is pre-capping 5% of your commission, if you opt in, goes toward the purchase of stock. Post-capping, 10% goes in until you reach a total stock purchase amount of $15,000. Pre-cap, you get 25% bonus. Post-cap, you get 50% bonus. So the reality is every dollar I spend through my commission in the Real stock agent purchase plan, I get a 33% bonus. So take 1,612 times 1.33. So
2,143.
Okay, so far I, out of my commission, have purchased $1,612 worth of stock. The 33% bonus then takes it to
2,143.96.
All right. So let's just say for fun, let's run this thing out through the year. Okay. So I love what this does math-wise, and I'm going to geek out a little bit. And if I lose you, just feel free to ask a question. All right. So year 1, I will invest $15,000 of my commission into the stock purchase plan. You guys follow me on that? So if I make $200,000, I really make $185,000 because $15,000 went to a stock purchase plan. But so take 15,000 times 1.33. So some of it's a 25% bonus, some of it's a 50% bonus, but it ends up being about a 33% bonus.
So that's 19,950.
19,950. Now let's say, are you guys okay if I say year 1 stock valuation is $2 a share? Are you guys okay with that? So just for easy math, let's say year 1, I purchased 19,950 shares of stock, or $19,950 worth of stock. It cost me $15,000 to do it, but take 19,950 divided by 2.
9,975.
So 9,975 shares of stock at a $2 valuation, okay? These shares of stock have a 1-year vesting period. So there's really, the bonus stock, there's not much I could do with it for 1 year. But let's then play year 2 out. So year 2, I reinvest again my $15,000, which gives me 19,950 shares or dollars worth of stock. You following me here? Let's say year 2, though, the stock goes from $2 to $4. So how many shares of stock will that give me? So 19,950 divided by 4.
4,987.
4,987. Okay. Now this is at $4 a share. So here's where this gets grossly exciting for me. This is what excites me. So closing 123 Main Street, and I'm super happy for the homeowners, but that's not what gets me up ready to go in the day. This does. So those year 1 stocks, we now have to say they are fully vested. So this year 1 stock, now that we go year 2, in year 2 at $4 a share, Jaden, what is 9,975, which is the number of shares of stock we got in our first year of the stock purchase plan, times 4? So 39,900. So you can see how I got 19,500, but take 39,900 minus $15,000. Should be 24,000. So for $24,900, I got, assuming the stock grows, which is what we all believe will happen. Assuming the stock grows, it cost me $15,000 to generate $39,900. So it's a $24,000 gain. All right, let's go year 3. 19,950. And let's say the stock goes to $6 a share. So it grows $2 a share every year. Stocks don't really do that. A lot of times they go up or they go down, but let's just, for the sake of fun, let's say 6. So 19,950 divided by 6. 3,325. Now let's take 9,975 and add 4,987. So let's add these two numbers together because this is our total stock ownership after 2 years of vesting.
14,962.
So 14,962 shares of stock. Now let's times that by 6 because now the stock, we're saying in year 3, the valuation is $6.
89,772.
So now we have, not counting the stock we purchased in year 3, we have 89,772. Now we need to subtract from it our investment. So we're counting year 1 and year 2, 15,000 is 30. So now we're going to subtract $30,000. So we end up at $59,772. That is our gain. Forget about the savings because we didn't lose that $30,000. It's still there, which I don't know about you, but historically I haven't been good at putting aside $15,000 a year into my savings account. So now our $30,000 investment gives us $89,772. So let's just go one more year for fun. We reinvest $19,950 or $15,000, but this is the number of shares we get. And let's say we're at $8 a share. So now we're 4 years in. Forget about what EXP did because EXP went $2 to like $160. I don't even want to draw the math up here because it becomes ridiculous. Let's just be modest and say by year 4, it's gone up, 2, 4, 6. Now we're at $8 a share in year 4. So now we're in 2025. I have reinvested $45,000 into this, but that 19,950 divided by 8 is what? 2,493. Now let's leave that alone and let's add these 3 together. So 9,975 plus 4,987 plus 3,325.
18,287.
Okay, now let's use as our valuation after 3 years of vesting for 3 years of investment, $8. So times that by 8.
146,296.
All right. So now for our $45,000 investment, right? 15, 15, 15, we have stock worth $146,296. That gets me excited. That is the kind of stuff that says, well, how am I going to pay for Porter's college? How am I going to pay for Evelyn's volleyball camp? How am I going to pay for Evelyn's wedding? She's beautiful. And every guy in the world is going to come and want to marry Evelyn, and Evelyn's going to want a fairy tale wedding. Well, how do I pay for it? I either put the money aside in savings, or I do something super cool here to where I'm not going to tell you to be irresponsible with the rest of the money you earn, but it's irresponsible to not be a part of the stock purchase plan, because even with modest growth, forget about Fathom going to $32 a share or EXP going to like $160 a share and splitting a few times and all that stuff. Even just with going from 2 to 4 to 6 to 8, look at what it does to your money. And this is 5% of your commission pre-cap, 10% of your commission post-cap. To be honest, I haven't felt that $1,600. I really haven't felt it. And this is the power of the incentive that they give us as agents to reinvest in our own company. Now, just for fun, let's say by the end of year 3 years of vesting, so we're in year 4, we have 15, call it 18,000 shares of stock. Let's say it does something crazy and goes to $15 a share, which would be half as valuable as Fathom and like 10% as valuable as EXP. So we're now at 15 bucks a share times 14,000 shares of stock. Or no, sorry, 18,000 shares of stock.
18,000 shares of stock times
$15.
270,000.
And this is, to be honest, I have no direct responsibility for its growth, so I can't guarantee anything. But in my mind, I think it's going to go to 20 bucks at some point. So that's why I've already purchased out of my own pocket 20,000 shares of stock. That's why every opportunity I get to reinvest in the company, I take every dollar they'll let me reinvest at a bonus and I reinvest it because I believe it's going to go to 20. So when we're sitting around in a couple of years and you're like, how many shares did you get when it was at $2? I'm going to go, I got as many as I possibly could. And, because I really believe it's going to get there. So this is the stock purchase at a discount. So hopefully you're in on that. Hopefully you're committed to that. Hopefully you don't stress over I could really use that $300 right now. If you can really use that $300 right now, then we really need to work on some life planning and things like that, because in this system, $300 shouldn't mean that much to you, but purchasing that stock will do some crazy things for you. Now, $15,000 annual investment is nothing to scoff at. It's a lot of money. But that quote that I shared before, the person who doesn't know where his next dollar is coming from doesn't know where his last dollar went. My guess is I've spent $15,000 a year on the dumbest crap in the entire world. And so what I'm really excited about is to reinvest $15 or $15,000 a year into my own company. All right. Any questions on that?
I do. So can you explain because when you join, it's a percentage that's automatically taken, or am I wrong?
So when you signed your independent contractor agreement, you either opted in or out to the stock purchase plan. If you opted out, you can still opt in now, so it's not too late. But I think they had ideally gotten to where people could decide which deals they purchase stock from and which they don't. But right now, it's purely like you're either in or you're out.
So when you're in, what's the percentage that goes to
the stock purchase? So it's 5% of your net commissions before you cap and 10% of your net commissions after you cap. So for most of us, it'll take 6 or 7 deals to cap. So on those first 6 or 7 deals, it'll be 5% of your net commission
till I get to 4,000?
till you get to the cap. And then after that, then they'll take 10% because there's no cap anymore. You're just paying the transaction fee. So I think it's just to make it easier for the agent to swallow, because the 15% the real takes, if you add 10% onto that, all of a sudden the 25% maybe feels heavy for people. If it was up to me, I would probably, if they'd let me and give me the bonus, I would probably reinvest like 50% of my income if they'd let me, because I really believe it's going to grow. So I'm more worried not about the cost. I'm worried about, I wish I could invest more. But does that make sense? So it's 5% before you cap, 10% after you cap.
So 5% before I get to 4,000.
Right.
10% after.
Right.
I pass the 4,000.
Right, after you hit the cap. Yep. Any other questions on this? All right.
I do.
Oh, go ahead.
So whatever commission split we have, how does it work?
It comes out of your portion. So if it's an 80-20 deal with the team,
Okay.
then, and it was a $10,000 commission, then of your $8,000, they would take 5% or 10%, depending on where you're at with the cap of that portion. So that's where it's of the net commission, not the gross commission. Yeah. So it's not, if a $20,000 lead closes and you get $10,000 of it, then technically they would either take 5% or 10%, depending on where you're at with the cap. of your $10,000 portion. If that makes sense.
And after I get to the 4,000, my commission changes.
No, it's just they take more after the cap if you opt in on the program. So they let you buy more after you cap. So the way they think of this isn't like a punishment, it's an opportunity. So before you cap, you only have a 5% opportunity. After you cap, you have a 10% opportunity, if that makes sense. So it's not like a cost, it's a benefit. Like I wish it was 20% and 50%. I literally would be all in, because even if it stays the same, even if the stock never goes up in value, I get the 33% bonus. So I could take $100,000 every year if they would let me and get $133,000 back in stock. I would do it every single day. So I view it as not necessarily a cost. I view it as a limited benefit until you cap. So, all right, number two. The number two way to earn stock is by capping and attracting agents. So there's three basic caps in the Real Broker Network. If you're on an elite team, which means the team does more than 250 transactions a year, then typically those agents are at a 4K cap. If you're on a regular team and you're a team member, then you have a 6K cap. And if you are a full capper, meaning you pay 12K a year, then you're a full cap. So the full capper receives, when they cap and pay their 12K, they get 1,000 shares of stock capping. The half capper receives 500 shares. The elite team member that pays a 4K cap gets, I think, 333 shares of stock. So just by virtue of capping, you will get shares of stock. They have a 3-year vesting period, meaning you can't cap, get your 1,000 shares of stock, and then take off the next day. It is the award is for retention and long-term motivation. So it's just like Starbucks or Ford or any of them, all of the incentive-based stocks that, when Steve was at Staples, his stocks had a vesting period. It's just the way companies do their awards, or their retention tools are all tied to staying for a specific period of time. When an agent directly attracts another agent to the company, and upon the attracted agent's completion of their first transaction, the attracted agent will be granted shares of stock. So if you attract an agent to the Real Broker, either here in Nevada or any state that Real is currently in, which is 32 states, you will receive, at its current offering, 500 shares of stock when they close their first deal. So they don't have to be a team member of yours. They could be a full capper, they could be a half capper, they could be a Platinum Elite team member. Like, they don't have to work directly with you. It could be some guy in Tallahassee, Florida, that is at Remax and unhappy, and you talk about Real Broker and they want to join and they've got their own team, then you receive 500 shares of stock when they join and close their first transaction. I don't know what it will look like as the stock valuation grows and as the company grows, but it will not be 500 shares of stock forever. There was a period of time not too long ago that it was 1,000 shares of stock for attracting agents. But as the company grows and as the stock valuation grows, my guess is at some point it will go from a number of shares of stock to a dollar valuation, to say you get $1,000 worth of stock when you attract an agent or something like that. They haven't directly spelled out what it will look like as the company grows, but the benefit is so you think about how excited I am about those 9,000 shares of stock I'm going to get for spending $15,000 to do it. I can get those 9,000 shares of stock, or call it 10,000 shares of stock, by doing what? Recruiting or attracting 20 people to the network. So now the cool thing is I can reinvest my own money, but if you want to put a dollar valuation on the call you make to your friend to say, like, hey, I'm not sure if you're aware of what I've been doing, but I'm with Real Broker. I'm super excited about this opportunity. If you want to put a dollar value on it, its current valuation is about $1,000. You get about $1,000 worth of stock when you attract your friend to join you at Real Broker and they close their first deal. If you want to get stupid with it, you say, well, let's say the valuation goes to $15 a share. How much are those 500 shares worth at that point? It's like a $7,500 phone call. So I don't know how many phone calls you can make that generate $7,500. You can do a lot of them with lead conversion and stuff like that. But as far as peer-to-peer calling, there's not a lot of things I can call my peers about that have a potential to make me $8,000. Well, with Real Broker, they want to grow in the right way, meaning Mahela attracts people like Mahela. Like Mahela attracts other people to do good business and add to the culture and are great agents. So it's not about recruiting. It's not about cold calling people you don't know. It's about looking into your world and going like, who do I know that is a good real estate professional that is at an old brokerage model that benefits them not at all, that would benefit from this new brokerage model where we all have ownership in our company and we are all in on the same mission of creating the greatest real estate company in the world. Who do I know that I can share that knowledge with? And now the company's going to go, Mahela, because you brought someone like you onto this company, we are going to give you 500 shares of stock. Current valuation is about $1,000. I think someday the valuation will be like $10,000. So the hope would be that you would be incredibly incentivized to reach out to people that are like-minded individuals. It doesn't do you any good to attract someone to the company that cannot close business. Because like we talked about 2 weeks ago or a month ago, the revenue share is something very real and very attractive as well. So some people misunderstand what happens when you attract an agent. So let's say Jaden attracts Bill. Two things happen for Jaden when he brings Bill into his real world, for lack of a better term. So Jaden benefits from Bill in two different ways. One is through stock and one is through revenue share. And they are two completely separate things. And not many, or sometimes people don't understand this. So the revenue share that comes in the form of real dollars. So I have already been receiving in my Real app and in my bank account revenue share from agents that we've attracted into the company. As deals have closed and as they paid toward their cap, we've already been receiving revenue share. So that's real dollars. It's not that you, because of the revenue share, you get stock. They are two completely separate things. So Jaden attracting Bill, if he's a full cap agent, meaning he pays $12K a year to the cap, then Jaden will receive how much? $4K a year that agent pays their cap, which is awesome. So now I go, all right, I want 10,000 shares of stock this year for attracting agents. So I'm going to go get 20 agents to join me at Real Broker. So now I've got my 10,000 shares of stock. But the other really cool thing that's happened is if they're all full cap agents, then I have an $80,000 a year annual revenue share potential if they all cap. Like, it's crazy. And so they are separate things, though. The reason I point that out is because sometimes people think that the revenue share buys the stock or something like that. They're just two separate benefits that the company says, Aaron, if you can go get 20 people to become a part of your world and you have a vested interest in their business and you're going to help them succeed, we're going to give you a full cap. We're going to give you 4K, a half cap. We're going to give you $2,000 a year that they reach their goals and pay their cap. We're also going to give you 500 shares of stock for each agent that comes aboard the Real World or the Real Broker and closes their first deal. So yesterday in our team meeting, we talked about side hustle and how the big thing out there right now is real estate agents are like, my main hustle is selling real estate. My side hustle is selling umbrellas I bought from China on Amazon. And it's like, my main hustle is selling real estate. My side hustle is selling parking passes to Allegiant Stadium at $10 a pop, for each Raiders game or whatever. It's like, whoa. Like, why is your side hustle something so weird? Like, my main hustle is selling real estate. My side hustle is selling, American flags on Etsy. It's like, whoa. Like, why is that your side hustle? The cool thing is Real Broker says, Arlie, how about this? How about your main hustle is you go and close houses? And how about your side hustle is you find other awesome real estate agents who need a better way of doing business, who want an ownership stake in their company, and who will benefit from stock and residual income, make that your side hustle. So now your side hustle is, let's just say in 1 year, Jaden really hustles on his side hustle and attracts 10 agents into his real world. So the two things that will happen is, as it currently stands, Jaden will receive how much stock? 5,000 shares of stock for attracting 10 agents into the real world. Jaden also has the potential of somewhere in between $20,000 and $40,000 a year in residual income from those 10 agents. That's 10 people. Like, that's 10 people when you go to an open house and you're like, oh, hey, what's up? I'm Aaron with Real Broker. And they go, oh, hi, I'm Lisa with Keller Williams. You're like, how long have you been with Keller Williams? Like, oh, you're paying an $18,000 cap? Wow, that's crazy. What if I could get you into a situation where you're paying a $12,000 cap? Does that sound good? What if, in addition to the 12K cap, when you do that, you get 1,000 shares of stock? And then what if all your friends that you work in the bullpen with at KW come over and you get $4,000 a year in residual income and you get 500, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's worth this one principle. Jaden's very familiar with this principle. Open your mouth. Like, just talk to people. That's the coolest part about it is in stock situation number one is open your wallet. Like, pay a little bit of money to buy stock. Principle number two is open your mouth. Like, just talk to people. Like, attract people. Don't bring people into your world that you don't want to have some sort of interaction with. But when you meet a rad agent that you're like, dude, this guy would be a killer. I like this guy. Open your mouth. Talk to him about the opportunity. All right. Number three, Elite Agent Stock Awards. So for a lot of you here, I don't know about those tuned in online, but a lot of you here are team agents who are focused on, you know, you're at a half cap or whatever it is for being on a team. But there is a world in which agents can earn elite status if they reach specific production requirements. Once you earn this status, you are granted shares in stock and become eligible to earn more shares in stock through different cultural benchmarks. All right. So my cap is $12,000 a year. So I am currently halfway to that cap. I have paid $6,000 in the last month to Real Broker. Okay. Once I cap, I then need to figure out a way to do enough business to pay $6,000 a year in transaction fees. Now that's kind of a weird way because we culturally as real estate professionals, our focus is always how do I pay my broker less money, not how do I pay more money. But I am obsessed with paying $6,000 in transaction fees because if I pay $12K to the cap and I pay $6K in transaction fees, it qualifies me for Platinum Elite status. Now, what that allows is so long as I participate in the cultural growth of the company, meaning you're going to see me teaching classes in workplace and being an active member of the real world or the Real Broker community, because by achieving the financial benchmarks and participating through the cultural benchmarks, I qualify to receive. Now think about this. So at this point, I've paid $18K in fees to Real Broker. But if I qualify for elite agent status and I participate culturally in the growth of the company, then I qualify to receive a $24,000 stock award on an annual basis. So now I pay in 18 and I receive 24K back. It's not really worth going for this unless your production is at a certain level. So it's going to take you 7 or 8 deals. If you go for the full cap, it'll take you 7 or 8 deals to do that. And then post cap, it'll take about 27 deals to reach Platinum Elite status. So that's just something to look at. If your production gets to the point to where you're like, I'm probably going to do 40 transactions this year, then it's worth looking at the Platinum Elite status and making sure. My advice is participate in the cultural growth of the company anyways, but realizing that if you can reach that Platinum Elite status, pay your 12K cap and your 6K in transaction fees, then participate in the cultural growth of the community, then your 18K turns into 24K, your 15K turns into 19K, and all of a sudden, my $33,000 I pay my brokerage every year turns into like $47,000 worth of stock or whatever it is. So those are the 3 ways in which you can achieve stock gain through the Real Broker opportunity. Aaron, did you have a question?
Just listening.
Okay. Questions, comments, concerns, smart remarks? Nothing? Brant, what do you think?
Awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, you went through everything, I think, pretty clearly, so I don't have any questions.
The goal with all of this, to be honest with you, is to get off of this thing. Like, it took me so long to figure out that real estate agents ride this roller coaster. And it really took me a while to figure out the reason why it happens. The reason why it happens is because they're working to meet their debt obligations. And so now when we interview agents, I'm always like, hey, so I used to say, raise your debt obligation so you'll work harder. But now I say, become obsessed with wealth. If you become obsessed with wealth, then we've all seen the memes on Instagram and stuff where it'll say like, this hits different, you know, like the Golden Knights walking out and like, you know, when flour hits the ice, it hits different or whatever. Closings hit different when we're wealth minded. When we're debt obligation minded, closings become like your ticket to paradise. Paradise to me no longer exists in a physical location and the lack of work. Paradise to me exists in a growing wealth portfolio. So the 4 principles we talk about is closing business, investment properties. So again, if you guys come across good investment deals, let us know. Brant and Aaron put in 30 days, how many deals did you put together in your last 30 days?
1 contract signed and then 3 others that we're working
To get rid of it, yeah. So he'll get 4 investment property deals put together in like 30 days. That's a wealth creation tool. Number 3 is stock ownership. Like, it's really important that you have the ownership, institutional investment ownership. Like, the cool thing is when we were all Love Local, or if someone's at KW, they have brokerage owners that own that brokerage and benefit from that relationship. We are all shareholders in this company. Like, I don't own Real Broker. I own shares in my company. And so I did a video yesterday that Troy put together, which was breaking up is hard to do. And what's an interesting conversation is when an agent goes to their traditional brokerage model broker and says, hey, I'm moving over to Real Broker. And then their broker clamors and tries to figure out a way to keep them, because it's important to realize in traditional brokerage models, each of us is a wealth building tool for that owner of that company. Does that make sense? Like, if Ryan's at KW, then he is a wealth building tool for the owner of that marketplace. Ryan is working to meet his debt obligations. The owner of that marketplace is using Ryan to build wealth. Real Broker hits different because for each of us, our relationship with Real Broker is a wealth building tool for us. Institutional ownership through stock, residual income through revenue share, with the added benefits of closing a bunch of business and adding a bunch of investment properties to your portfolio, or partnering with guys like us that can help you take down some of the deals you come across. So awesome. Thanks, guys.
Right, so
Yeah, the stock plan is, I just believe